Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here. And today's video is just going to be a review of my weekly fragrance rotation, beginning the first week of June here. I think starting at the tail end of May, but nonetheless, kind of breaking into my big citrus bomb sort of summertime fragrances right now. Still kind of leaning a little bit into that green territory, as it's not officially summer yet, and I'm holding on to a little bit of that last remaining spirit of spring. Starting off with the end of May, I think it was the 29th, keeping with a little bit of a floral accord, we've got Dunhill's Icon. Really nice dry pepper and neroli. Some people get a grape soda, fizzy grape soda vibe off of this one. I can kind of get that a little bit. I don't really get the grape accord. It's really more orange to me though. But it does remind me a little bit of like a fruit flavored pixie stick to some extent, kind of a dry powdery orange, like an orange pixie stick is a little bit what this reminds me of, the way that the neroli and the pepper come together. Also some lavender and vetiver, making this a very nice, clean, elegant, and office-friendly fragrance in my opinion. Incredible value for the price. Carlos Benaim is the perfumer behind this one, and Dunhill knocked it out of the park in my opinion with this one. Also with the presentation, really nice, powerful, heavy, good grip with the texture on the outline, or on the outside of the bottle there. Really awesome stuff. Dunhill's Icon, and a cheapie you can find for under $40. Really beautiful wear for me on Monday. Most of the week this week was the same weather, just really nice, kind of a little bit hot, closer to the 90-degree point most of the week, so I did, like I said, reach for some of my citrus-based fragrances. Tuesday was L'HOMME Cologne, discontinued but still readily available at Mercari and eBay for under $100, so really worth checking this one out if you haven't. I hear that the new Plantain Privé release from Guerlain in this bottle style harkens back to this DNA rather well. I haven't tried that one yet, but might be worth checking out if you're into this sort of grapefruit, citric, neroli take on the almond DNA that Guerlain offers from this line. Again, really beautiful wear. On Tuesday, I got to enjoy some of that little bit of creamy floral components from the neroli in here, and just kind of still held on to a little bit of that spring weather while hearkening into the little bits of summer that are shining through in June with the really nice citruses in here. Really easy wear, not the best longevity on this one, but I still think this is worth getting your hands on, especially if you're trying to collect the whole L'HOMME line. Okay, so Wednesday was a new fragrance to my collection. It was my first time wearing it. I believe it came in the mail Tuesday night. Time to Musk Up is the channel that recommended this fragrance in their top 10 summer list, so I decided to get my hands on it. I have been a big fan of the line for some time, and that is Wednesday Sauvage Cologne. As you can see, it's a little bit different than the original Sauvage bottle. It's got a white cap and band here. Really nice kind of modernized take on the Sauvage DNA. It drops some of the more green oak mossy textural feel that makes the original DNA a little bit more mature, and it leans more heavily into a sparkly citrus. There's still that green vibe going on in here, so it's not completely a citrus bomb, something like Jimmy Choo Man Ice or like that, but still really nice, beautiful citrus. Doesn't last the longest. It definitely wears a little bit like a cologne style, but the quality is exceptional. It does remind me of a little bit better version of Eau de Rochas, if you're familiar with that fragrance, but really glad to have this one in my collection. Such an all-star, and I definitely had a really enjoyable wear with this one on Wednesday. Okay, so Thursday, I'm not sure if the comment was directed towards my cologne, but when I got to work, somebody said it smelled like piss. Very well could have been the oak moss in here. I'm not entirely sure. I quite enjoy that green oak mossy vibe from this fragrance, though. It's one of the things that makes me love it. Took a while to grow on me, this one, but I have increasingly found fondness for it because of that green accord, and that is Nishane Hacivat for Thursday. So like I said, I kind of got a comment. I don't know if it was directed at me. They didn't say that I smelled like piss, but when I got to work, they said it smelled like piss, and this could have been the reason. I do kind of see where they could be coming from. There is this citric type quality from the pineapple, which is the main player in here, alongside of the oak moss, that could give off that vibe. I don't necessarily get the urinal cake sensation from this particular fragrance and its oak moss, but I know that that has happened in the past. I'm just gonna reconfigure the camera here from the light kind of moving in the horizon, try to get a little bit better situated here. Okay. But yeah, so Thursday, this was Nishane's Hacivat. I particularly enjoyed the wearing, and like I said, it's been growing on me as a fragrance, and it's definitely moving up the ranks. I think I'm a little bit more comfortable recommending it now. It is a little bit flat and sits a little bit close to the skin. It is a little bit linear, but I think the execution on this is particularly great. I'm not sure if I like it more than Aventus yet. I still appreciate that smoky quality that Aventus has that this is missing. It's a little bit more dimensional. As I said, this one's a little bit linear, but definitely a grower on me. So that was Thursday's Nishane Hacivat. And Friday I usually like to wear niche fragrances, and this was a new one that I've been wanting to get a full wearing out of, and that is Xerjoff's Renaissance. So this fragrance has one of the best openings in my collection, especially for like a fresh citrus fragrance. It's got mint and sparkly citrus at the top. However, the opening, I don't want to say the opening doesn't last long, because that citric quality carries throughout the course of the entirety of this fragrance, but it develops out of that really bright, fresh, invigorating semi-green from the mint, sparkly citrus, and kind of devolves into this somewhat doughy, like cake batter mix sort of sweetness. I'm not entirely sure what exactly is accounting for that in the note composition, but it tends to happen with a lot of these Xerjoff fragrances that I've tried. They kind of develop into this more of a how should I say, yeah, like a Play-Doh style sweetness, which isn't necessarily bad, but for a fresh fragrance, and especially like in the high heat, I was wearing this in like a pretty humid 90+ degree weather day on Friday, and it just kind of became a little bit cloying with that sweetness, I would say. Still wasn't overbearing. I think the citruses helps, carry its weight during that high heat environment, but also the way that this dries down with that Play-Doh-y kind of sweetness with the citric qualities reminds me a lot of Chanel's Pour Monsieur Eau de Parfum, and I feel like if I had to choose between this or the Chanel, I might go with the Chanel. Hard to say though, still kind of getting acquainted with this one, but it's still in the like category, not quite a love for me. So that was Xerjoff's Renaissance for Friday. Saturday and Sunday both were some newer fragrances to my collection. I was getting my first couple wears with these fragrances as well. Saturday we went with Byredo's Bal de Freak. Picked this one up because I recently got a Banana Republic 90 Pure White, and I heard that this was a clone of it, and I wanted to get my feet wet with this fragrance, I guess you'd say. I probably should have sampled it, but I'm glad I did get the full bottle. I do really enjoy wearing this one. It is overpriced in my opinion, so I don't know exactly if I'm going to be recommending it on lists or not because of that. I do know that there's another Paris Corner clone of this called Vibrant Leather, I believe. Kind of looks the same, white bottle in this style with a green cap like this with the semicircle. Haven't tried that one, but I think it's worth, it's probably something else I'm going to be checking out. But this is a really nice, beautiful, kind of second skin, easy to wear, light fragrance. Generally, I like more beast mode, thick, heavy scent cloud style fragrances, but this one does a really good job at being a light, easy to wear fragrance that I enjoy. It has this very, I don't want to say powdery, it's more of a very fine mist of citrus. It's like a very subtle and very fine mist of citrus, like somebody was spraying you with a squirt bottle of lemon juice per se, because it wafts in a powdery way because it's so fine, but it's not powdery in a dry sense. It still has that very wet, juicy kind of citrusy quality, but it's a very fine, subtle quality to it. And then there's like this tropical flower vibe going on in here. I don't know if that is the tejet, I believe is how you say. There's a certain African flower in here that gives it this certain tropical quality that I feel is missing in the Banana Republic Pure White. Like there's a certain tropical quality to this that makes it more of a summertime fragrance than a springtime fragrance for me. It definitely has that clean laundry vibe, and it has this nice warmth to it that feels the way that the sun feels when it's kissing your skin, just kind of like a warm hug. This does that very well. It definitely has a nice warming quality to it. Like it feels like a warm hug, this one, and it has that nice tropical kind of fine mist citrus. Really beautifully executed fragrance, easy to go nose blind to. I did put this one on and I felt like I couldn't smell it after 2 or 3 hours. However, I put this on a test strip and I've still been able to smell it on the test strip up to 24 hours later, so I do think that this is something that's easy to go nose blind to. But yeah, really beautiful, elegant, subtle, tropical, citrusy, floral fragrance. Again, I think it's a little bit overpriced, but I'm really glad that I do own the full bottle of this one. That's Byredo Bal for Saturday. And Sunday, definitely a fragrance I don't think I'm going to be recommending. It is an acquired taste. I personally picked this fragrance up because I'm a big fan of the perfumer, Bertrand Duchefort. So I blind bought this. I wish I would have sampled it. I might not have gotten it, but it does have a lot of notes that, how do I want to say, resonate deeply with me. My local area has a lot of wild vegetation growing that's found in this fragrance. It's got rhubarb and tomatoes. I was gardening in a tomato garden just this weekend. My local area holds a rhubarb festival every spring. There's some apple in here, and there's apples that grow wild around where I'm at. Without further ado, I'm just going to introduce the fragrance. This is Signature from Aedes de Venustas is how you pronounce the brand. This, like I said, it's got tomato, rhubarb, there is incense, there's supposedly a cannabis note. I don't know if that is legit or if it's just Fragrantica. Mislisting the notes, which is pretty common. However, if you're familiar with Bertrand Duchefort, he is the perfumer that has done Enchanted Forest, but for the Vagabond Prince, he's done Jubilation 25 for Amouage. He has done Sartorial for Penhaligon's. 3 fragrances which I own that I quite adore, which is why I wanted to look into Duchefort's Signature from this brand. They were kind enough to send me 7 or so samples, which I will hope to do a first impressions video of soon. Or maybe not first impressions, as I already put them all on test strips, but I tried to do a first impressions on skin with the samples that they sent me. Copal Azur is another Bertrand Duchefort fragrance from this brand that I found was very pleasant. It reminds me of a semi-sweet smell that you get from burning sage in the air. That was like what the Copal Azur was for me. But for Sunday, I was gardening in a tomato garden, which is why I decided to wear this one to kind of accent that green vegetal vibe. In a nutshell, though, if you're familiar with Duchefort's other fragrances, this opens up in a way that is semi-similar to Enchanted Forest. It's got that green fruitiness to it that Enchanted Forest has, but this leans more like Enchanted Garden than Enchanted Forest. It does have a lot of more vegetal vibes to it than coniferous, I should say. And then it dries down into something that is a little bit reminiscent of Jubilation 25. There's like a hazelnut note in here that kind of brings out a certain warmth and almost autumnal style sweetness in the base of this once it starts drying down. Really of an artistic offering. Like I said, I don't think it's something I'm going to be recommending, at least not right away. It's definitely an acquired taste and a niche fragrance in that respect, but really also great to have this one in my collection because of it being perfumed by Duchefort. So that was my weekly rotation this kind of first week of June here. Let me know in the comment section down below what your weekly rotation was, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.